How does the acorn become the giant oak tree? Apparently, Aristotle used to hold up an acorn in front of his class and say, "What do I have here?" And what he was asking them, he wanted them to say, "You have an oak tree." He didn't have an oak tree, he had an acorn. Now, you could take an acorn to the most erudite scientist in the world, have them dissect it, and they're not going to find an oak tree in it. There's no oak tree in the acorn. Jammed right up against that acorn is energy. It's called earth. There's a pattern plan in the acorn that controls the vibration of the acorn. And because of the vibration, because of the frequency it's operating on, it has no ability to change the frequency. It's going to stay in that vibration. It can only attract the energy in the earth that's in harmony with the acorn. Now, there would be energy jammed right up against that acorn that's in harmony with a carrot seed, but not an oak tree. So that energy will stay jammed right up against the acorn, but never become one with the acorn. Meanwhile, there's energy quite a ways away from the acorn that's in harmony with the acorn. If you could see with the naked eye what's happening, like an obedient soldier, that particle of energy will march right to the acorn. And what happens when it gets there? What happens if I put 2 drops of water together? I got 1 drop of water, haven't I? And I got a bigger drop of water than I had before I joined the 2 together. Try and separate that 1 drop into the same 2 little massive molecules. You're never going to do it. Well, when this particle of energy, which can be a long ways away from the acorn, marches towards the acorn, and it will march like an obedient soldier right to the acorn, and when it becomes one with the acorn, what's the acorn do? It does the only thing it can do. It expands. When you add energy to energy, you get more energy. And the acorn expands and sends shoots out the bottom, then sends shoots out the top, then it starts to attract from the atmosphere as well as from the earth. See, a pattern plan is in the seed. It controls the vibration of the seed. The acorn's in the earth. The oak tree's in the universe. The law of attraction brought them together. What is the law? We said the law is God's modus operandi. It's how everything happens. You know the good that you want? It's already here. You got to get in harmony with it. If you don't get in harmony with it, you're never going to attract it. You will not attract it. But that's how the acorn grows. That's how all other seeds grow, and that's how you grow. You want to know the difference? The acorn has no ability to change the pattern plan. It has no ability to alter the vibratory rate that the acorn's in. You have the ability to alter your vibration at will. I have the ability to alter my vibration at will. When we alter the vibration, we start to express the good we've been desiring, and we start to attract the energy that's in harmony with it. Have no fear. Fear not. Seek ye first this kingdom and its righteousness, and all these things will be given to us. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to Freedom Friday. This is my favorite day of the week, this week, like of this training week, because we get to talk about the thing that I like most, and that is money. Some people say that money is the root of all evil. Some people say that it's not such a good thing. I'm telling you, they're the people that don't have it. Because money is a product of your self-image. That's it. However you see yourself and whatever vibration you sit in with when it concerns money is what you will attract. You are not an acorn. You can be anything that you want. You can be rich. You do not have to live in poverty. You do not have to live within the circumstances that you're living right now. And if I can do it, you can do it. I pulled the card today out of my affirmations for a badass. It's okay. Mistakes are just proof that you're trying. Don't give up. And never give up on yourself. Never give up on changing where you are. There is everything available to you. Remember what I said, like you're conscious of only like one little speck of what the universe is able to give you. One speck. Isn't it time that you grew your consciousness? Now remember what I taught you on whatever day it was, the 4 stages of consciousness, before you came here. And you know, there will be a lot of people that will leave here in the same state that they came. Only 5% of the world are actually making a difference in their life. And 1% of the world make 96% of all the money that there is made. 1%. 3% of the world will live the way they want to live. And when they get to retirement, will have the money that they want to live the way that they want. 3%. You decide what percentage you're going to be and where you're going to sit. Hello, Valentina. So, hey, Heidi. So the other thing, see, look, I've got the chat going. You know, it's persistence. You can never give up on what you want, because as soon as you give up, you're defeated. You go straight back to where you were sitting. Remember those levels of vibration that I showed you? The difference between here and there is a decision. You decide. Now, the first stage is unconscious incompetence. Remember, I'll be honest with you, there was 63 people live here on Monday. Today we've got 23. Why? Because it doesn't fit with the logic of their paradigm. Their paradigm is saying, no, this can't be right because this is what I was taught when I grew up and this cannot be true and I would have to change to be able to do that, so I am going to leave. Sorry, I've got this bloody phone that just won't shut up and I don't even know how to turn it to shut up. Maybe I can just turn it off. Anyway, I don't know how to work it. We'll just throw it away. So you can be anything that you want, but you're going to have to start to change the way you view the world and your place in it. So most people will not change. That's why 95% of the world will remain stuck. The next step is to become conscious of this, but most people will become conscious, so they'll learn what I teach, and guess what? They don't do anything with it. So they become consciously incompetent because they know it, but they don't do. And yes, somebody put this in one of the chats in YouTube the other day. To know and not to do is not to know. You can gain all the knowledge. In your conscious mind is all the knowledge that you've ever been taught. If you don't use it and apply it to your life, it doesn't become, like, you don't become an unconscious competent. You stay consciously incompetent. The only way to start to change is to become consciously competent. So you use this, and each day you start to put it into some sort of practice. Now you can imagine, yes, you can sit on the couch and imagine yourself doing it, and that is a great place to start. But the only way you change your vibration is to start taking action. And then you become, like, after you've practiced and practiced and practiced, you become an unconscious competent. Now, I have become so unconsciously competent that if I get emotionally involved with anybody's story, I start creating it. So this is why my family think that there's something wrong with me, because I don't get emotionally involved as other people do in their negative stories. I just sit there and go, okay, is that working for you? And they're like, how can you just sit there and not get emotionally involved in this? I said, because I've become very good at being an unconscious competent, that whatever I think about, I bring about. And I want you to, I'm just going to tell you a few stories. And I know that this may not concern money, but it will tie in. In February, I decided I was going to go down and spend March in Adelaide with my daughter and help her get organised with, she just started uni to be an interior designer. And so I thought I'd go down and spend a month with her. I have a room, like we rent a house down there together, and I have an office and a bedroom down there in that house. So I thought I'll go and spend the month. Now, if you can remember, there was a flood happening across the Northern Territory. And I decided that I was driving out here on, I don't know, I can't even remember the date. I think it was like the 27th of, maybe it was like the 1st of March or something. I don't know. Anyway, I had my sister and other people say, Polly, you're going to have to fly. You're not going to be able to drive. Now, I was picturing myself, my goal was to be down there with my car so I don't have to hire a car, and I'm going to be there for a month. I can just drive around, and I wanted to get a few things done to it. So those of you that don't know, and I'm not here bragging, I drive a Porsche Cayenne, and I bought it in Adelaide, and it gets serviced down there, or they come up to Darwin twice a year. But there was a few things that I wanted done, and I wanted new tyres and stuff on it, so I thought I'll go down there and get it all done while I'm there. Now, a few times they were saying to me, Paul, you're going to have to, like, have you got another plan? Like, you should maybe book some flights or have, I'm like, I'm driving my car. And they're like, I just don't think you're going to make it. And I said, don't you know who the fuck I am? I'm Polly Hearn. I always get what I want. I am driving there. Now, I had planned my trip out that I was driving to Alice Springs the first day, Coober Pedy the next day, and then into Adelaide the day after. And that I started driving at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't like being on the road right there at that dusky time, and I didn't want to drive in the dark. So that was my plan. I got to Alice Springs, spent time with my family there, and then took off to Coober Pedy, got there. I was in bed. It was crazy. I was in bed till like 7:30 that night, asleep. And I woke up and it was 3 o'clock. And I thought, I wasn't planning, what am I going to do for 4 hours in this little pokey hotel room? What am I going to do? And I thought, just go back to sleep. 9 minutes later, I was still awake. And I thought, okay, let's just pack up and get on the road. And we can just take it slow, because I knew that there was a lot of cows and stuff around that area. Anyway, so I just poked along, and it was raining. And it was a bit of a drizzle when I packed the car, which I'm so grateful that when I packed the car, it was just a little drizzle, because within, like, by the time I hopped in my car to drive out, it was sort of a bit heavier rain. And I got to Glendambo and had breakfast there. It was like, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock or something like that. The next day I was in Adelaide. I got there at 2:30. We went straight to IKEA to set up my office, because I hadn't been there for a little while, so I wanted to put some furniture and a desk and stuff in there, and I had my computer in my car so I could work in both businesses. And by the time I got home, and then Monday morning, I was on the phone to our IT people that host the computer system for Hans, and I said, oh, nice day today. And he says, where are you? And I said, I'm in Adelaide. He said, oh, righto, did you fly in today? I said, no, I drove. He said, when did you get here? I said, oh, yesterday. And he says, how? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the road was closed. He said, where'd you leave yesterday? I said, Coober Pedy. And he said, that road was closed between Coober Pedy and Glendambo. And I said, oh, not when I drove through. He said, what time did you leave? And I said, oh, well, I was awake, so I was on the road by 4 o'clock. He's like, well, lucky for you, they shut the road at like 8 o'clock in the morning or something, Paul. And I was like, oh my God. So I want you to know, like, your subconscious mind runs your behavior. It rules your behavior. It tells you what to do. It tells you what time to wake up. And as long as you're conditioning it to what you want, and you're only focused on what you want, you will do the actions, or you will be inspired to do the actions. Now, I could have laid in bed until 7 a.m. and then until like 6, and then packed my car and got on the road. But there was just something about it, like intuition speaks, and it speaks quietly. We talked about that sixth sense when I was reading to you out of Think and Grow Rich. When you are not focused on circumstances, you actually hear it. And it's just like, we should just get on the road, hey, Paul. I'm like, okay, righto, get on the road then. And you follow your instincts and follow that sixth sense or your intuition, whatever you want to call it, you will get what you want. But you have to start to listen to it. And you have to make changes, and you have to make decisions like you've never made decisions before. And it may seem crazy, some of the things that you do. Like, I'm like, 4 o'clock in the morning, getting on the road. It's like, this is a little bit, and actually it was 5 o'clock in South Australia because my time and everything was still territory. So I only just sort of scraped it in, and it was pelting down. I tell you, it was like pretty heavy rain. But these are some of the things that you can start to expect. And I've got so many stories. I've got so much evidence of me getting what I want. And you would too. You didn't come here because you're so broken and there's no hope. You came here because I attracted you here so that you could start to see where you already are competent. Start to join the dots in your life and think, I was actually thinking that and I created that and I did this and I created this. So start joining the dots. Give yourself some confidence and grow your belief in yourself. So let's talk about money. There is 2 books that I really love when it comes to money. They are Happy Pocket Full of Money and The Having. Somebody maybe out of my team can put these in the chat for me. I listen to this book maybe twice a year, at minimum once a year. I just finished listening to it again the other day. But there's an affirmation in here that I just opened the page to before, and I got the same page again, and it is, I am wealth, I am abundance, I am joy. Your birthright is abundance. You are supposed to live a rich life, rich in knowledge, rich in relationships, rich of experiences. The only thing that holds you back is your mind. Now, and I'm pretty sure it's in the Happy Pocket Full of Money, or it's in another book that I've listened to, but there is not enough money in the world if everybody went and withdrew the money from the bank. There's not enough money. So stop thinking that money is what you probably believed it has been up until now, because it's not quite real. And money is directly tied to you. But there's 3 money mindsets that I work with. I run a program, one of my own programs, and it's called Money Magnet. I am a money magnet. And I help people then turn themselves into a money magnet. Now, and I want you to, I did not come into this world from a very rich family. I have always worked for the privileges that I want. I set my sights on something and I don't try and figure it out. So when, I'll just go back maybe to when I first had Maddie. So that's my firstborn child, and I borrowed a friend's video camera. Back in the day, this is like 24 years ago, we didn't have iPhones back then that you could video and get a clear picture with. So I decided I wanted a video camera. So it was maybe, she was a month old, they were a month old, and I thought, actually, I want a video camera. And I worked out how much it was. It was $810 back then. And I thought, okay. I wasn't working. We were on one wage. We had just purchased this home the year before in sort of August sort of thing, and this was in December. And I thought, okay, I want a video camera. I don't know how, and I don't try and figure out the how. I've always been unconsciously competent when it comes to wanting and getting. And it was actually working with Bob Proctor that helped me see that I was already very good at this. Sometimes it was negative, though. I'd bring in the negative. I'd think about what I don't want and get that too. And it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, righty, I'll join some dots here. And I can see the path of my life. So it was about a month or so, 2 months after Maddie was born, that I got approached and asked if I would cater for a wedding. And because I used to be a chef, and I said, okay, where's this wedding? And it was out in the bush. They said, so we'll buy all the food. You tell us what to buy. This is the menu that we want. Add to it what you think. Tell us what to buy, and how much would you charge us to cater? And I said, well, yeah, what if we just worked on $10 a head? And they said, how many people are we looking at? 80. So I got the $800 to buy the video camera. Now, these things don't just happen. They happen because I desire. Remember that feeling. Desire is to give birth to. It's wanting. But I flipped from desire, and I just could see myself with a video camera, videoing all the things that I wanted. Like, and we've got hours and hours and hours of video on these kids. Anyway, it's so much easier now. You just turn your phone on video. Like Craig and Hannah hopped on the motorbike this morning to go and do some things, and I thought, oh, how cute! Let's just video this. It's a whole different world. But if you let your circumstances decide what you can and can't do instead of desire, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're holding yourself back. Really get into that fuck the how. Do not try and figure it out, because you have a grain of sand awareness. That's it. In a whole universe of how it can come through. I would never have been able to work out a plan that, like, oh, somebody might come to me and ask me if I can do their wedding and I would charge this, and that's how I get my video camera. I would never have been able to work that out. When the kids wanted to go to boarding schools, like, okay, how much is this school going to cost? $40,000 a year. Rightio, well, we'll just work it out. It'll just come whichever way it comes, and just allowing it to come. Now, I'm not here to tell you to go and spend a heap of money and stuff, but allow the money to come to you. So there's 3 money mindsets that I work with people. One is deficit. Now, this is where a lot of people live, where they spend more money than they earn. There's this bloody shit called Afterpay. There are credit cards. There are all these things that people go and get, and they spend more money than what they earn, and they get themselves maybe into a bit of trouble. Hello, this was Polly when she was 21 and 22. I had a David Jones card, and I had a bill on it. And I just went through this with my daughter this morning. Found out that she had an Afterpay account, and I said, righto, let's pay that thing out, and you pay mum and dad back, and let's cut that thing up and destroy that. Don't ever do that again, because it's just getting you into the thing of purchasing when you don't have the money. If you don't have the money right now, you can still have it, desire it, and let the money come. Don't go and book it up. Anyway, that's just the way that I think. So, and that's exactly, the experiences that we have in life, we normally pass on. Try and just pass on the good ones. So my boss, Brian Kelly, when I came back to Catherine for a month's holiday with no money and a David Jones card, and I said, okay, BK, while I'm here, can you help me get my shit together with money? He's like, rightio, what are your goals, Polly? And I said, oh, well, I'd like to buy a house one day. I'd like to have my car paid off. I'd like all these things. He says, rightio, okay, what are your bills? I told him all my bills, and he says, all right, I'll pay out all your bills, and then you just pay me a bit back each week, and we're going to sit here each Tuesday, because Tuesday was payday, and I'm going to give you the money that you can have for the week, and that's all you're allowed to have, and the rest we're going to save and pay off these debts. And I was like, beauty, righto. So I've done that for all my kids. I've done that for people that have worked for me in several different businesses, and I passed that on because, I think about that song of Tim McGraw, always be humble and kind, and turn around and help the next one in line. So we always have to be helping other people. There's the impression of increase, looking for areas that you can help other people. And when you're in that place of service, not for money, money will come to you out of all different places. Just give and cut the strings. Graciously receive, willingly give. Don't expect anything from anybody. And giving should be spontaneous. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to sit here and I'm actually going to give this to this person and you work on it. No, giving is spontaneous. Just like, oh, here, have this, have that. That's okay. And remembering that you don't own anything. And when you can give away the things that you treasure the most and not expect anything in return, man, things just seem to grow. Now, there's some things that I will not give away. I'm not quite at that place yet, but I always just give away my clothes. I always give away extra money. Like if I've just got money there, or we walk past somebody and they're in a not as good a place as we are, I always give donations. We always sponsor things. There's so much that you can give to, and it doesn't mean that it has to be a big amount. Just get into the habit of putting money into circulation. But if you're in a deficit, maybe you've got to look at, and I do this little exercise where I have a budget. I see what money comes in and where it's going, and maybe you need to track that for a little bit and see, okay, where can I tighten the belt a little bit? Maybe some of it, I had to do this, all the subscriptions that you can have with Netflix and this one and that one and that one. I'd have said to my family, hey, I'm cutting all this one out, but except this, and I'll share it with you. If you want the other ones, like, use pay and we all share. It's just about getting into like that. Then the next thing is break even, that you're spending as much as you're bringing in. So there's no surplus. Now, it doesn't matter if somebody that's in a deficit or a break even, if they get more pay and they have the paradigm of deficit or break even, and they get a pay increase or they win the lottery or something like that, within a period of time, they'll be back to the same place, because your paradigm is in control, not what you want. Paradigm, you have to learn how to change the paradigm. You have to learn how to change the program. And I'll be honest with you, it's a fucking tough gig sometimes of doing something that's uncomfortable. So, and I had to do this. I was more comfortable in going and borrowing money off somebody to get me through the week than I was saying no. I was way more comfortable in doing that. So I had to change like a lot in my life to be able to have the abundance that I have now. So that's the next stage, like, mindset of abundance. If you want abundance, you've got to start to create it first. You've got to change what you do daily. You've got to change how you're programmed. You've got to change the paradigm. And so it's going to take some uncomfortable things. Now, there's a few things that you can do as well to be able to get into the frequency of abundance, is look at really good quality things. Like, I always look at really good quality holidays and how you can fly differently, good quality cars. Like, I buy things that are good quality. I don't go for having an abundance. I would rather have less and have better quality. Like, at the moment, one of my goals was to reduce the plastic in my house. Like, this is where I'm saying to you guys, you don't have to have huge, big, like, goals. A goal of mine is to reduce the plastic in my house. So every week I just buy some glass containers. I love this place called Seed and Sprout. So I buy containers from them, and I'm just swapping things out in my pantry, in my spice cupboard, in my drawer that I put all the leftovers and stuff in, to get rid of the plastic. That's a goal. I've never done it before. Doesn't really scare the pants off me, but I'm just like, oh yeah, righto, just spend some money each week on and doing that. But this is where your goals, you have focus. So I'm not going to spend money on like crap things that are not going to get me there. I'm just looking for the best quality, and realizing that a lot of shit in my pantry that people put in there is not what I would buy, and I'm just ditching it. So you either spend more than you earn, you spend the same as what you earn, or you spend less than you earn. And if you want to get ahead in life, you've got to start to spend less than what you earn. Now, how do you, and this is a great way to start, but then you got to flip over. How can I make more? Because if you're not working out how to make more money and how to earn more money, you're going to be shrinking yourself down to fit into this container of what you're bringing in right now. And it's not going to be a fun place for you. So now you flip over and, okay, radio, I've worked out that this is where I am with my money, and I've worked out that I can put aside this amount each week, sort of thing. Because when you live in a place that you're spending less than you're making, you free up energy, you free up thought processes. Instead of like, how the hell am I going to pay this, how am I going to do this, instead you're putting money aside for all these things. What does it do? It frees up your thinking time. Instantly you change, even if it's $10 a week extra. Because this is what most people do. They try and fit their life into the money that they make. I instead go, okay, like when I first started here, I was on like 80,000 a year. I'm on 80,000 a year. This is what I can do with 80,000 a year. And I knew everything I could do. What do I want? I want this. I want to be able to travel this way. I wanted to add all that up. And that came to like maybe, I don't know, it was like 180,000. This is how I want to live. Rightio. Okay. So I add those together. It's like 260. That's the income that I go for. That's my goal. That's how you get a money goal. It's not, you don't just pull it out of the air. You work out how you want to live, add on your expenses. So 80,000 for me was just covering my expenses. I didn't have much money left over. I couldn't fly business class to overseas and do the trips that I do now. So I worked out what I wanted. And then I joined them together. And then what does my mind go? Okay, how can we do this? What can I do to increase my service? Because how do you get money? It comes from service. It comes from getting very good at what you do. I've written some notes here. Hang on. So, right, this is how we do it, eh? We work for money. That's one way you can earn money. Work for it. Trade time. Guess what? You've only got so much time. And so being able to up the income there, what do you think you need to do? You've got to do something that there is a need for, which I'm sure that everybody here that has a job or a business, there is a need for it. Then you become very good at it. Your ability to do it is what is going to drive up your stock and your worth. And then the difficulty there is in replacing you. That's going to make you worth more too. All you have to worry about is how can I get very good at what I do? What can I do to be the best that there is? And that's what you focus on. What's the offer that you can put out? If you're on the online space like me, what's the offer? If you have a bricks and mortar business, are you the best in the business? Become the best. Have your eyes focused on the best. And then when you become the best, and it's not just the best in what you do, the best at being the boss, the best at understanding your employees, at best at understanding you, what's holding you back, understanding the industry that you're in, understanding how you can help more people, because that's essentially what jobs are for, to help people get what they want. That's it. Get very, very good at what you want, at what you do, so that then your stock goes up. Now, I look at myself, I am a luxury brand. PolyWEC, Poly Wealth and Empowerment Coaching, and intuitive coaching and stuff is a luxury brand. I'm a VIP brand. I'm for people that are done with just being ordinary. I want to be extraordinary. Now, I work with people from all walks of life. A lot of you have seen Sue doing lives and stuff. Sue came to me. Sue and I knew each other, sort of. We probably didn't like each other that much. Probably thought, oh, well, she probably didn't like me that much. Yeah, you're a bitch and everything, because I pretty much was when I met her the first time. Anyway, when Sue started working with me, she was on a pension. So some of you are looking at this and going, oh, so I've got to be earning millions to be able to work with you. I've got to be in this 100,000K or 150K sort of bracket. No, you just have to make a decision. Sue made a decision, and here she is. She made a decision last year when we went in Cairns do a mind shift. Everybody that came and worked with me made a decision to. Why? Because they knew on their own they weren't going to get what they wanted. They needed accountability. They needed somebody to help them. Because you've got to do this for yourself, but it's bloody hard doing it by yourself, because your mind will talk you out of things. Now, I have calls with all my clients, and those of you that have already booked a call and had one with me this round or in the last few rounds this year or something, know that I call you on your bullshit. I don't sit there and let you wallow in this. I'm like, okay, I'd let you talk for a little bit and then go, okay, righto, what are you going to do about this? You're going to use this for the excuse of where you are for the rest of your life, or are you going to move on? Because there's two ways you can do this. You can go ahead or you can stay where you're at. And where you're at, you're probably downward spiraling. Because this world is moving at a very rapid pace. And if you are not catching up with it and staying up with it, you're probably going backwards. Most people, after they've made a bit of money, try and hold on to it. Like they make their first million or they make their first 100,000 in business and they try and hold on to it instead of, okay, now what? What do we go after next? Double it. Let's go again. Let's double it again. Let's double it again. They try and hold it. And guess what happens? When you try and hold on to something so tightly, it runs away. You try and tell something what to do or somebody what to do. They're just like, you can get stuffed. I'm going to do my own thing. You allow money to come. It will always come. But you've got to get in receiving mode. What does receiving mode mean? It means that you have to start to graciously receive. And I want you to have a look at your life and ask yourself, are you a great receiver? When somebody gives you a compliment, what do? Do you say thank you, or do you go, oh, this old thing, like, oh, that's a great dress. Oh, yeah, I got it from Temu, or I got it from here. Or instead of just saying, oh, thank you so much. It feels so good to wear this. There's one way that you repel any sort of compliment that somebody gives you. If you start to like give an answer back instead of saying thank you and receiving, if somebody holds the door open for you, I had a big trouble with this. Like, you know, when we started, when I started getting a driver to pick me up from the airport to take me somewhere, like they come out and I'm just straight in to open the door. They're like, ma'am, I'm supposed to do that for you. I'm like, oh yeah, receive, Polly, receive. If somebody wants to open the door for you, do you try and take it and go, I'll hold it, I'll get it? Do you stop the receiving? You know, I went out for dinner with my mum a couple of years ago, and it wasn't the very nice dinner anyway. I didn't realise how much she'd probably had to drink, and we were walking across the road and she had a little stumble, and I'm like, oh, Mum, let me help you. And she's like, what? After what I just said, you want to help me? I'm like, yeah, I'm here to help. It's not about me. But being able to give, and you know, I love Dolly Parton with, if you see someone without a smile, give them yours. Give people the very thing that you want to receive. If you want money, start giving it away a bit. And not in a huge thing. Like I've always taught my kids this, that they should always give when they have a win or something like that. It doesn't have to be a huge amount. So, you know, I have a bit of a gamble here and there. And whenever I win, I just go and put money into everybody's accounts. And so my son went and played the pokies a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, he said, oh, everybody had a win. You all got money in your accounts. And so I looked at my account and I had $2. And I thought, good job, Ryan. Good job. Like just teaching this, that you've got to share and you don't own anything. And it's easy come, easy go. Don't be so tied to it. The other thing too is that, and I hope this is helpful. Is this helpful to everybody? Is like the chat's not moving. Is everybody getting some value out of this? The other concept that I started to work with was turning my annual income into my monthly income. So turning that 250, that was my goal for annual income, to turn it into my monthly. Now that's a whole lot of fun to do, but it's about just flipping your mind onto another frequency and then following the thought pattern of, okay, oh, I wonder what we could do to do that. And then it's just all like taking action on the ideas. Most people are so afraid to take action. What will people say? What if it doesn't work? Who gives a fuck if it works or not? Just go for it. It's not going to, like, the answer is always no if you don't take action. But when you take action, then you look at the results and you just go, oh, okay, how can we do this a little bit different, a bit better? That's exactly, it's like every time I do one of these trainings, every time I have a call with somebody, like I had a couple of calls yesterday, and I was like, how could I have given them more? Like especially Chris, I was just thinking after I hung up with her, I'm like, could I have given her more? and then, you know, sometimes I want to give too much. And I've always been generous with money. I just, like, you know, I had a lady that worked for me. She said, Polly, you're so generous with money. And it's just like, I just don't look at it like other people do. And my husband has always said, you have got some screwed up concept about money. And I said, well, you sort of trade time for it. I just allow it. So look at yourself like a luxury brand. Are you treating yourself like a VIP? And do you expect VIP service? Like, I've always wanted the best of everything. You know, my husband used to say, like, why do you have to have the Toyota Kluger Grande? And I said, I don't know, I just do. But I've always done my absolute best. And even the times when, you know, my best isn't quite as good as it was yesterday, it was the best that I could do today. And I just strive to be the best that I can be each day. Some days, like you know, sometimes you can't sleep that much. Like I'm going through, I'm on the other side of menopause and things are a little bit topsy-turvy in my body. And it's just like, oh, this is the best that I can do today. But I give it my absolute best. Same with my clients. You know, I wanted to share this with you, right? So when I was in Townsville, I have a cousin. I've got a sister in Townsville, and I've got nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews and a cousin. And we caught up one night, and we had a cup of tea. It was really nice. We're just sitting on the couch having a chat, having a cup of tea, and she said, oh, I wish I could come to your training because I was hosting a training. I said, oh, you can if you want. She said, no, I've got this going on, I said, oh, that's all right. And she said, so I want this job, Paul. I'm like, oh, yeah, righto. I said, so tell me about the job. And she's like, well, this is what I want to do. And I said, okay, cool. I said, so just be it. She's like, what do you mean just be it? And I said, okay, so the job is a general manager position, and she hasn't been in the general manager position, but she's been wanting to, and she said, and it's become available. And I said, so be the general manager. She's like, yeah, but what do you mean by that? And I said, well, when you go to bed tonight, you're the general manager. And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm the general manager of da-da-da-da-da. She's like, okay. I said, and then tomorrow, when you go to work, you're the general manager. She's like, yeah, like, all right, explain that to me. I said, well, you got to come from. You can't, like, be here in the general manager positions here. You got to be the general manager. Is there anything different in the place that you work that you would do differently? And how would you turn up differently if you were the general manager? And would you talk differently? And would you do things differently? And she says, yeah, fucking oath I would. I said, well, start doing it. She's like, what? I said, start doing it. Start today. Like tonight you go to bed and you're the general manager. Tomorrow you walk into that place like you're the general manager and you start talking like it. So she rang me this morning and I didn't get a call because I was doing something else. Then I rang her back and missed her, and then I said, sorry, I've just got to do this. She said, I got the job. And I was so good. Rang her back. She didn't have to ring me, and I said, yes, I did. But like this is the whole concept of what I teach. And you know, when we were sitting there having that cup of tea, and I said, not many people teach this like the way I do. And she says, I've never met anybody that teaches it like you do. And I said, well, I'm one of a kind. I am. And every one of you are. But own who you are. And decide what you want and be that right now. If you're going to be rich, you start acting like that rich person. You think like that rich person or the wealthy person or whatever it is. And you start thinking, okay, how would they walk? How would they turn up each day? What would they think about the bills that they've got? If they had $100,000 in the bank account, $1 million in the bank account, this is your life, but how would they think? Because it starts with the thinking. Remember, the consciousness, the thinking. They're not thinking, like I'm not thinking, fucking hell, the power bill and blah, 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 and the price of fuel and all of this. I'm just like, okay, need to make more money. If I want to do the things that I do, or just don't worry about it, just bloody tap and pay the bill. Don't worry about it. And like change the way that you do things. Change your idea about money and what is worth, like what's expensive. You know, I have people that I work with, and you know, somebody said to me the other day, oh my God, $1,000, that's really expensive. I'm like, oh yeah, so what are you comparing it to? They're like, what? I said, well, what are you comparing it to? And he says, well, that's a bloody good question. I said, so what are you comparing it to? He says, I don't know. I don't even know what I was thinking. I just said expensive. And I said, so do you think you're conditioned just to think that things are expensive and not even like get to reason with it? Well, probably. I said, oh, cool. So, so I play around with these sorts of ideas. If I go and buy a pair of pants or a top or something like that, and maybe it's $150, I look at it and go, okay, how many times would I wear that? And if I know that I could wear it 10 or 12 times before I get rid of it or pass it on to the next person, then really, like, it's cost me, I don't know, $12, $14 each time I wear it. And like that's good value. Sometimes you can spend $400 on one dress and only wear it once, but you felt fucking amazing when you wore it. That's good value too. But I only make purchases that are 10 out of 10 that I absolutely love. There is nothing in my wardrobe that when I look at it, I go, oh God, I wish I didn't have to buy that. And I get rid of things like do Marie Kondo stuff. If it does not spark joy, get it out of your house. Get it out of your life. Because every time you look at something and you don't feel good, straight away you've come down a level of vibration. So you got to up your value. See things like, there's the minimalist thing, or like I sort of go in between and just go, okay, like everything in my office I love. When I look around, like I love those flowers, I love the bottle of wine picture, I love everything, I love the St. Michael statue there. There is nothing that I don't like. And if there was something that I didn't like, even that cork that's sitting over there on that table, there's a candle behind me that I was given by a friend. Michelle DeForno gave me a candle and it was just so beautiful. And so every time I look at that cork, I'm reminded of her and I love her. So, surround yourself with beautiful things. They don't have to be expensive, but make your space around you as clean as you possibly can, because outside of you shows what you will put up with. So if it's scattered, that means that you'll put up with your scattered thoughts and having no direction. If it's cluttered, same thing, you'll put up with cluttered thoughts in your head. This is where decision is the most important thing for you. Where am I going? Is that a part of my journey? If it's not, get rid of it. Same as like a lot of you have answered the questionnaire that there's something wrong with your health. Man, if I was you, I would sign up for WildFit right now. And people go, oh my God, it's $1,800. You tell me, if in the next 15 weeks, I can turn your health around and you can be on a whole different path, is that more than $1,800 worth? Everybody that leaves WildFit does not go, oh my God, that was the worst bit of money I spent. They are all grateful, like, holy shit, you have changed my whole world and the way that they see themselves. And they don't need as many medications that they've used before. I had an 81-year-old lady do it a couple of rounds ago, and then I had a 70 somebody in England that came and did it with us the last round, off their diabetes medication, walking without pain, and she had broken her back and walking without pain. Now, this is the most amazing thing, but you know what people do? They look at how much they're going to give up instead of what will I gain? If I can walk pain-free, how much is that worth to me? If I can have freedom from the thoughts that I'm thinking about all day and having all these cravings, and every time I put something in my mouth, I hate myself. If I can be free of that, what is that worth? Same goes for money. If I can start to love it coming into my life, and as much as I love it leaving it, will it want to stay more? Money is an entity. It is energy. And the more that you can love it when it comes in, as much as you do when it goes out, then it's going to start to stay, because money goes where it's wanted and it stays where it's appreciated. Now, the homework that I've given you today is to write your story of me and my friend money. Now, if you want to do it the best way, it'd be write out your story that you've got going on right now. like how you think about money and all the things that, like, money never fucking comes to me, and it always gets chewed up in bills, and I never have enough of it, and I hate it when this time of year, and I hate it when the rates come in, and blah 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 blah. Like, you write that story out, and then you write the story that you want. Me and my friend Money, we have so much fun together. We go on cruises together, we go on holidays together. I'm able to give it to my friends and my kids, and I take my friends on holidays, and blah 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 blah. Like, whatever you want, this is your life. Remember that you are only seeing in your life what are your most dominant thoughts. So you've got to change your thinking. Oh, Sue, my God. It was the best thing that you ever did. Now, I don't study lots of different things. And I think one of the things that is wrong with our society is that get all types of knowledge. These 2 books, if you just studied these and listened to them over and over and over again, don't go finding more and more and more. Just study these 2. You'll be in a whole different feeling about money. And then study yourself. Because you are the only thing holding yourself back from the life that you want to live. That's it. You. We cannot blame anybody else. Because you're in control. And as soon as you take responsibility and stop giving it away to other people and circumstances, you go, okay, I'm in control. And all it takes is me to make a decision of where I want to go, and I start moving there. And if you want help from us and you want to be a part of a VIP brand and a luxury brand and live the life of VIPs and luxury, then book a call. I'll have a chat to you. Now, I know some of you have tried, and maybe the price has scared you, because it'll say Polly's pricing is between $2,000 and $25,000 or something like that. And you go, oh, well, I'll take a cheaper option. I want you to think, is that the way you want to live your life? To be the cheaper option? I don't. I'd rather have less of the good stuff than more of the shit stuff. And I want you to think about this. I want you to look at your strengths and what can you do. Don't worry about your weaknesses. How can you increase your strengths? How can you get better at what you already do? Because that's going to be fun instead of trying to strengthen your weaknesses. Now, this is a bit backwards. So some people go, what? We're supposed to strengthen our weaknesses. What if you strengthen your strengths? You got stronger. Like, if you were already a little bit disciplined, if you got really disciplined in your thinking, how much different would it be? Now, I told you a story, right? I will tell you another one. I told you I was going to tell you this story about me and my car. My first car that I absolutely loved was a little Toyota Corolla. Like, having a Toyota was a significant thing for me. I had a little Ford Fiesta that I'd bought. That was my third car, actually. Anyway, that I'd bought through like an 18% loan back in those days. And I had that for like 7 years, that car. And then I became the executive chef of Knots Crossing Resort here in Katherine. And then I upgraded and bought this little Corolla, which was great until I had 3 kids. And then I needed to upgrade to a bigger car. Yeah, I had a Kluger, but my first business car was a Lexus. And the reason that I bought the Lexus was we were over in, Penny and I were over in LA. Yeah, LA, and we went to a Miranda Lambert concert, and we rang and got this driver to take us there and pick us up. Anyway, I hopped in the car and it was red leather. I thought, oh my God, this is just beautiful, right? So when I came back to Australia, I was like, okay, I'm going to get a car with red leather. That's what I'm going to have as my business car. And so I picked out this Lexus. It was white with red leather, and I love that car. And then once, and I don't know about you guys, but I was around. It's called The Having, Kathy. It's just called The Having. I was down in Adelaide. Now, I grew up with Beverly Hills 90210. I loved Dylan. I always had this thing for bad boys. Or, the boys that were real confident and just like, don't take no shit from nobody sort of thing. that was what my husband, like, it drew me with him. Like, he was somebody that I wrote about, and 3 months later he just walked up and kissed me. So anyway, but Dylan drove a Porsche and I fell in love with the car. And then of course Top Gun, that Kelly drove a Porsche, and like there was all these different things, or whatever her name was. Anyway, I have on my wants list to have a Porsche Cayenne. Like, there's a little thing behind me over there that they gave me a gift. Anyway, I didn't have the self-image to go into a Porsche dealer and pick out my car. I always had on my goal list that I was going to have a Cayenne, and it was going to be brown with chocolate leather interior. I can still hear my goal because I had it recorded and I'd just listen to it over and over again. I had the Lexus in Katherine and a Porsche Cayenne in Adelaide, but I'd never been to the dealership, and my self-image wasn't available for me to do that until a friend said to me down there, have you ever been into the Porsche dealer? I'm like, nope. You know that we teach, hey, that you should go and touch it and feel it and sit in it and get the feeling of it so that you can involve all of your senses into your goal? I'm like, yeah, I know. Well, are you going to do it? No, I'm just not there yet. She says, get in the car, we're going now. I'm like, what? She says, yep, get dressed, let's go. So we went to the Porsche dealer, and, you know, I was shaking in my boots, but then the fella come out, and his name was Brody. So, Brody's in this group, I think. I don't know if he's still here. Anyway, he showed me a few cars, and he's trying to sell me this 911. I can see you with this and the top down and this other thing, and I'm like, I don't want them. I said, have you seen the way I travel? These little tiny boots that can fit this. I said, mate, I travel with 3 suitcases. I've got a Cayenne in my head. And he's like, okay, all right, let's go and have a look at one of these. So I had a look at one, and I thought, oh, beauty. And then he said, then we went and sat in the office, and he got this thing up, and we built this car. And he says, now, do you want a GTS? And I'm like, what does that mean? And he says, come with me. So we went and hopped and sat in this other car, and he started it up, and I was just like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, holy shit. Now, when I was growing up and I was 15 and 16, I would be driving around Katherine in the boys' car, like boys in my life, because I had lots of boyfriends instead of girlfriends, because I saw girls as bitchy, and there was competition and shit like that, and anyway, never really worked for me. So I was always driving around, and we'd sit outside of places and watch people come out of their drunk and stuff. So we're always fast cars. And so when he started that car up, I was like, oh my God, my heart's going just thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. Okay, anyway, so we built this car. Now, I'm not here to spruce to you all about how much that car's worth or anything. I'm just want you to know that if I can do this, you can. It does take discipline in your mind, but anyway, built this car and it came to $245,000. I was like, holy shit. And he says, right, are we going to do it? I'm like, what? He says, are we going to do it? And my friend's going there, Paul, you can do that. I'm like, holy shit, what the... Like, the most I'd ever paid for my car was $95,000. That was my Kluger. I mean, my Lexus. And I'm like, what the Jesus? Are you mob for real? Yeah. Are you going to do it? And I said, what's the deposit? He says, $5,000. I'm like, oh. All right then. Okay. And I just tapped, put in my PIN number, and I was shaking like a leaf. I had no idea. Like he said, it's going to take about 6 months to build it. So this is in September. In February, before that, he said, now, do you want me to, because, you know, you have to apply. This is luxury branding, hey? You have to apply for your car to be built. So they said, we'll send it off and we'll see if they approve it. If they don't approve it, then we might have to make some changes, because, you know, like you pick the handles, you pick the tires, you pick the big disc brake color things, and you pick everything. And if they don't like how it would look, they won't build it. Anyway, he said, do you want us to tell you if they get the go-ahead and you give us the go-ahead? And I said, if you do that, I'll probably chicken out. So no, just tell me when it's on its way. Now in February, I got sent this little box. It's this little black box, and it's like, I opened this box and it's Porsche, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? And it was this little, like a toy car that they said, we're building your car, so we thought we'd give you a little car to put together as well. So they sent me, and it's like Dylan's car, but his was black. And I was just like, holy shit. Anyway, so I put this car together, and I can still feel like I've got tears in my eyes just thinking about how scared I was. And, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to be able to afford to pay for this? Anyway, my business had not done too well because this was in 2023. So I ordered in 2022. This was all happening in 2023. So COVID had been through. We'd lost a whole lot of people working at the workshop because we didn't enforce having the jab to have the immunization. We let it up to other people, which anyway caused a bit of chaos, and people were like, no, we can't work for you. So anyway, they left, so I had to come back and work full-time in this business. So my business had actually made like a $40,000 loss for the year. And so when it come to the finance side, like, so I didn't have the cash to do it cash, so I had to go through finance. And when it came to, they said, probably send us through your figures, and I'm like, oh fuck. Okay. So I sent them through, and I said, they're not good. They said, no, they're not, are they? He said, like, so what are we going to do about this? I said, what happens if you say no? And he said, well, why would we say no? And I said, because of those. And he says, well, let's just work it out first. Anyway, it arrived in Adelaide, and they said, are you going to come down and have a look at your car? And I'm like, but can I do it? And he says, oh, it's all approved. I'm like, oh, shit, what the hell? Anyway, I you know when you're afraid of money, you don't even want to look at the contract. You don't even, like, you're afraid to open bills. You're like, when money is really encompassing and it's maybe coming from a little bit of lack, you're scared to face it. That was me. And so I went down and I hopped in it and started it, and I was just like, oh my God. And you know, every time that I got into a place of doubt over that 9-month period, I was like, boom, 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 boom. Like, I'd just sit there and just get into the feeling again of what it was like just to sit in it. Anyway, I got down there and like it just refreshed everything. I was really excited again. I thought, okay, righto, we'll do this. Okay. And so it was in 2 days that I could go and pick it up. So I went down there and I picked it up, and I hadn't really read anything. I just signed, like, everything's blurry. You know, when you do public speaking, I know this from the times that I've done the first sort of public speaking. It's like there's something screaming in your head, and you can't remember much. You can't remember jack shit about what was said or anything. You're just like, all these voices are talking into your head like, what the hell are you doing? Are you for real? What the blah, 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 blah. All of that's going on. I'm just sitting there just like, yep, doing the motions. Like, I'm just telling my body what to do, get the hell out of there. Then I said, are you guys going to drive it home for me? And they're like, what? I said, I come from Katherine. I don't really drive in cities. And, you know, I've been coming to Adelaide for a couple of years now, or maybe like 3 years now, but I sort of only go from there to Glenelg and then to Harbour Town and sort of back. I don't really drive in the city, so can you drive it home for me? And they're like, no, Polly, you've got to drive it yourself. So I can't remember your name, sorry, but whoever it was today that was talking about that, I get you so much about getting in that car. So I'm in this $250,000 car. And I started, and just straight away, I was just like, I got tears in my eyes. I'm like, I don't know how to, oh my God, I don't even know how to get home. I don't even know where my house is from here. And like, you know, then they've connected your phone and everything to it. But it all went through. And then I got home, and like for days, I was sitting there. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you, because I hadn't really read the paperwork that they gave me. I'm waiting for the first car payment to come out. So this is like, my car payments are like $3,600 a month. So I'm waiting for that first car payment to come out, and it didn't come out. And every time somebody knocked on the door, I'm sitting there thinking that's the man that's coming to repossess it, because they've decided no, because, you know, the contract hadn't all gone through the day I drove out. They're like, the money hasn't come through, but we know it will, so you can just go. Like, so I'm in this state of craziness for like 3 days. And I thought, Paul, you're going to have to go and read that paperwork that they gave you to see what happens, what's going on here. Because, you know, they hadn't taken that payment out. But I did have to pay like $15,000 cash to be able to pick it up, and then, tap a card thing. Anyway, I went and read the paperwork, and it comes out the next month. I was like, oh. And I'll be honest, the first 6 months, I was like, holy shit, making sure that the money has to be there, and am I going to be able to make this payment? Am I going to blah, 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 like all of that chaos in your head. Now it's just like, it's repetition. It's like I practice it, and it's just like, oh yeah, it all just works. Funny thing, I even drove around with it unregistered for maybe 2 months, because, have to go and after 3 months, you have to go and change the stamp duty and pay the stamp duty. The stamp duty was $9,900. So I go and pay that, and I thought it came with 12 months registration. But they only, they don't register it for you down in Adelaide, not like Lexus. They register it for a year, give you a fuel tank of fuel and everything to that. Porsche, just a bit of a rip-off. They just pay for 3 months, and then you got to go and do your own. So I didn't know that. Lucky I didn't get any speeding fines, because I did in that first month, but I didn't get any in that month that it was unregistered. And it wasn't until my accountant sent me a message, Polly, your car's unregistered. Are you going to do it? And I was like, what the hell did that $9,900 do? Just change the name. So then I had to quickly register it. But, we worry too much about things that haven't happened, and we worry too much about money. All you got to do is figure out, okay, how can I make more? And work your plan. What can I put out there to do, so that people see me differently, and that you see you differently, because you're the most important person in your world. So you've got to see you differently. But if you were a VIP brand and you saw yourself as a luxury, what would you invest in? How would you dress? How would you turn up each day? How would you speak to people? Would you laugh every day? If you saw yourself differently, what would be different? And you've got to start to be that person now. You can't wait. You can't wait. So you've got to study yourself. Where am I in my life? And you make this list. Where am I in my life not the best that I can be? And what can I do to change that? And this is what I help people with. We go through, okay, these are all the areas in your life that you want to improve. What are you doing on a daily basis, or how are you turning up that is not in harmony with that? And one by one, we change it. Yes, it's a process. Yes, it's repetition. Yes, it's persistence. Yes, you'll probably cry, because I do. But guess what's on the other side? Freedom. Freedom for you to do what you want, when you want, how you want. That's my motto. Hey, I'm Polly Hearn. I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Oh my God, what do? I help people how to think. And I teach people how to think. They're like, what? I teach people how to think. Most people are thinking in the deficit. They think about what they don't have and who they're not, instead of thinking about who they want to be and who they truly are. That's what I help people with. And when you become a VIP brand, you don't put up with half the shit that you've been putting up with. So what do I get better at? Telling stories. Helping you change your story. Because when you change your story, you change your life. That was my first retreat, and that's the basis of my whole coaching. Change your story, change your life. Change how you interact with the world, and the world will change, because you're creating it by your most dominant thoughts. So I want to see in the chat, who's going to be a luxury brand from now on? And I want you to know, you always know exactly what you've got to give up. You never know how much extra that you're going to get. You always know what you're going to give up. But if you focus on what you're going to give up, guess what? You won't change. If you focus on what the results are that you want, you will go out of your way to change. Now, I have 5 people here that either they made a decision yesterday to book a call. So I've got 4 people, that made a decision yesterday to book a call. If you're going to be a luxury brand, I want you to write it. If you're going to start to be the best, write the best. If you're going to be a VIP, write the VIP. Really, you are, Sue. Yes, you are. Really start to be that person and dress for success. Now, I said this in Townsville the other day, and they're like, what do you mean by dress for success? And I said, well, dress for the success that you want. So if I'm going fishing, I wear fishing clothes. If I'm going to the workshop, I used to wear workshop clothes. Now I just dress like I dress for videos here and walk in there and people are like, what are you doing? I said, I'm making this place better. just being me. But dress for the success that you want. So like fishing clothes, we dress so we don't get burnt, or we we have shoes on so we don't get hooks in our feet and fish don't spike you and stuff like that. Think about that. What's the success that you want? Dress for it. Start being it right now. You want to be a general manager? Start being that person right now. You want to own a car? Start seeing yourself with it and start acting like it. How would you step out of the car? You want to get more, you want to receive more, start receiving in other areas as well. You want to receive more money, start giving it away a bit. Doesn't have to be huge amounts, but be more generous. And then the money will start to turn up. You're like, oh, she has some fun with me. Start making ideas and writing ideas down. Really get into your story. So, Tracy Thomas, you made a decision to book a call yesterday. Kathy Devos, I think that's how you know, Devos. Adrian Pacelli, I think that's how you say it, Pacelli. Chris Floriani, you guys all made a decision to book a call yesterday. So well done. You took action. So good. And I just want to recognize Penny Pope. You played catch up and did your homework yesterday, so you're going to get a prize as well. Remember, you have to send us your address. If you've already sent it to us, so like Chris, you don't have to send it again because I've already got it. And I've got a list here. So those of you that haven't received a prize yet, you have to send us your address. I don't ask you for it. I don't chase you for it. And if they're not here by Sunday, then guess what? You probably won't get your prize. Now, what I just want to stress to you, remember, I'm the only person doing the calls. So you get to talk to me. I'm pretty blunt, maybe. I don't let you sit and wallow. I'm pretty direct, but I've got 11 spots left. So it's up to you guys. You have to decide, are you worthy of investing in yourself? Because, you can invest in cars, you can invest in houses, you can invest in all of those other things. But if you don't change you, the chances are your life will remain the same. And you're the only thing that's stopping you. So when you invest in yourself, guess what? Your stock rises. Every time I get coached, my the amount that I can earn goes up. Why? Because I only work with people that call me on my shit. I had a coach once and she's like, oh, you're doing a great job, Paul. That's really nice. And I'm just like, fuck you. No, I'm not. I could do so much better. And I don't want somebody that's just going to say, oh yeah, you're doing good, just stay where you're at. No way. No way. I want somebody that pulls out the best of me. And so, oh, good, Sue. And remember what I said on that Tuesday night call. Always listen to people's advice if they have been where you've been and have what you have. Don't go listening, because you think about it. If you're sitting there talking to somebody that lives on the streets and you want to know how to make money and you want to know how you can have more, then you wouldn't go and talk to the person that's living on the streets, would you? Be honest with yourself. They're not going to give you the information. You want to work with people that have been where you've been and have what you want. And even if they were lower than you, if you're coming at this and you're working with somebody that started here and is now here, they're going to help you fast track. That's why people have coaches in athletics and in some sort of any sport. Why? Because you will not push yourself. A coach will not give up on you. And be like, come on, you can do it. Even my sister, when we were all my sisters bar one have been coached by me, but we were going down to this fishing spot and she's like, Polly, can you please coach me down? I just don't know what to do. I'm like, yeah, righto, no worries. So I'm just talking to her all the way through it, and she's like, oh, cool, you just telling me that I'm doing great was just so good. And I was like, yeah, cool, but you've got to take action. So the person that was telling me, I said to her once, I said, can you just tell me how much money you earn? She says, 100,000 a year. I'm like, oh, okay. So you're really not going to help me get to more than the 250, are you? That's in my head. And I thought, okay, so yeah, right, I've got to get myself a new coach. Now, that person was great for me to feel compassion because I didn't really have much. I was really, you think I'm blunt now, man. You should have seen me back then. But yeah. All right. So what's been your takeaway from today? I want, like, the money story is going to be huge for you. Write out the story that you've got going on with money now, then write out your new one and burn that other one. And then you've got to post it in the Facebook group. So you either read it or you can just take a picture of it and put it in there. But, you know, if you can read it out and say, me and my friend money, and read it out as a live, man, you might even get an extra prize from me. But yes, so tomorrow we're going to talk self-image. Remember, the image of you in your conscious and then in your subconscious mind is what defines what comes in and decides. Change your self-image, you change your whole life. And we're going to go through a little process that I wrote her and I became her. It was how I was taught to change my self-image. You can see pictures of me 10 years ago and who I was 10 years ago. You would, and even if you looked at like 7 years ago when I first started, there's a dramatic change. Why? Because I keep changing my self-image. I keep upping it. I keep looking, where can I be more luxury? Where can I be more VIP? Where can I become better? And I just work on me and everything else changes. So there's 11 call spots left. Don't let them pass you up. Remember, I attracted you here just as much as you attracted me. We are not here by chance. There is no such thing as coincidence. We're here because we both want something that we can help each other with. All right. I love you all. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the morning. It's 9 a.m. We are back here and then we are in Zoom pretty much straight after. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.